Welcome to the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting Podcast. We're so happy to have here two very, very special people. The first one I really know. Okay, stop it, Henry. The first one is someone I actually got to know about 20 years ago when I first moved to Teaneck, and his name is Henry Orlinsky. Henry is, he's going to beat me up for ever saying this. Actually, okay, so he's not letting me say, but he is a leader in the Teaneck community. His first love, I don't know if you know this, but his first love is his shul, Congregation B'nai Yeshurun. Basically, that's his baby. Then, of course, everything that else that Torah Judaism requires is part, but the shul comes first. So I have here with me Henry Orlinsky, who is one of the founders of the American Friends of Netzach Yehuda. I think also more than just American Friends. So welcome, Henry. It's a pleasure to have you. I also have here with me someone very, very special. I have here with me the Sgan Aluf, the lieutenant colonel in the IDF in Sava. His name is Yossi Levy, who also happens to be the CEO of Netzach Yehuda. Netzach Yehuda is, you're going to tell me about it, but from what I know about Netzach Yehuda, certainly over 20 years, is that I originally thought Netzach Yehuda was a battalion for religious Chareidi Jews, Chareidi Israelis, and I'm actually going to shut up now because tell me what I don't know about Netzach Yehuda and why you're here, and certainly I look forward to learning more about Netzach Yehuda that I did not know.
So first, thank you for the opportunity to speak here with the amazing people of the North America. Yeah. Netzach Yehuda was built for me. I grew up in Chareidi community in Jerusalem, mainstream. I started in Cheder Amsora, it's in neighborhood Geula, everyone knows. And then I went to yeshiva in Betar Elit and Yeshivat Mir. Everyone knows Mir in America, so it's easy. And when I was a student in Mir, I felt that it's not my place, not because every time I felt that I'm very close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, my emunah was strong. But I felt that I'm not learning Torah. I have too much energy to sit 12 hours a day. I'm saying to the non-religious people in Israel, it's very hard to be Bachur Yeshiva. We have to give a lot of respect to the Bachur Yeshiva. And
to the serious Bachur.
Yeah,
sure.
Of course. Only to this. The Batlani must go to the IDF. This is the main point here.
But anyone who learns Torah on any level, and I'm not even going to say it, knows that learning Torah is really hard. No question, 100%.
Right. It's really hard. And for me, it wasn't the right way. So I started to get advice from some organization in Israel, and they all said to me, go to another yeshiva and another yeshiva. At the end of the day, I said to myself, I need to do something different.
Were you married at the time?
No. I was young, 18 years old. 18, 19 years old. And then I spoke with someone from Ministry of Defense. His name is Tzuriel. And he says to me, there is a unit in the IDF that's prepared for Chareidim. I said, wow, this is something amazing. Maybe I can be there. And then he said to me, it's 3 years from your life. You're going to be a fighter. I didn't understand why, because for me, the only way to protect Am Israel is from the shul, the yeshiva. So I said, I'm not going to waste 3 years for nothing. Then he came to me, he said that you're going to be a fighter, something that was more close to my interest. I have to be open, not values. So I said, yes, let's start. I said it to my very close to friend, and they said, let's go together. I came to my family, and I said to my father, I want to go to the army. He said, no, you have to be in the yeshiva and the kollel. No, I want to go to the army. Yeah. My father was smart enough to go to Rabbi Ovadia Yosef. And Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, everyone knows how smart he was all over the years. So he said to my father, be behind your son and support him. Yeah, he said it very clear. He understood I'm going to do it anyway. So if the parent, I see it today, thousands of parents, if you are behind your son, he will keep his values. In some aspect, he of course will be religious, but when at the moment that the parents are not behind the soldier, he loses everything. So I started. My oldest brother was really against it, but I started. After 3 months in the training,
were you in one of the first Netzach Yehuda unit?
No, I was in the first Netzach Yehuda. if you want to go back to the history. At the beginning of Israel, 1947, the Chareidim served in the IDF, all of them. Ben Gurion, he was the first one that gave the category of Torato Umanuto in Israel ever. He said to the Chareidi population, take 400 ptorim, exemptions, for 400 Bachurei Yeshiva boys, and for them to be in the Yeshiva, and all the rest will serve in the IDF. And so at the beginning of Israel, 1948, Israel built a Chareidi battalion that's called Gdud Tuvia.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, the first Chareidi battalion was Gdud Tuvia. After that, in Sheshet Hayamim war, in Yom Kippurim war, the army built a unit that's called Nachal Chareidi. And that Nachal Chareidi worked for 11 years, and thousands of Charedim served there. And the Admorim and the chief rabbis was behind it. Yated Ne'eman, there is an article of Yated Ne'eman that says the Bachurei Shivot must go to the army, to Nachal Chareidi, because the rabbi is behind it. Not all of you, but thousands of you. After Yom Kippurim war, I spoke to the commander, Moshe Chaim Schenfeld. He was a member in the municipality of Bnei Brak, and he says to me that the army promised a lot of promises to the Chareidi society, and the army didn't achieve that. Like kashrut, it was very hard in the days, not today, but the days, and another stuff. And then Begin became the prime minister for the first time, and he brought the Charedim to the coalition, and he said to the Charedim, what do you want? What the Charedim wants? They want exemption for everyone. So they got it. We got it. Charedim myself. We got it. Exemptions for everyone. And then for 25, 27 years, Charedim didn't serve in the IDF. No one. Only in one here and one there. But not systematically.
Individuals, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then in 19...
So it's all Begin. So it was really...
It's all about Likud.
Wow. Likud, okay.
Likud party.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm doing a mistake now, but that's the reality. That's the facts.
Mm-hmm.
In 1998, a group of rabbis from the Chareidi society, Rabbi Tzvi Klebnau and Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Chaim and Rabbi Nasson Bar Chaim, Henry mentioned them, and the founders came, and then David Hager came and Steve Rosedale. It's a group of founders, amazing people with a big courage. They said, we're going to open Nachal Chareidi again. Not to open for the first time Nachal Chareidi, everyone should know it. Let's open again the new Nachal Chareidi, let's call it. And they came to the IDF and they dropped him out of the door. They said, we are not going to deal with the Charedim about it. They came to the Minister of Defense. He said no. And then they find a person. His name is General Yehuda Duvdevani. He said, I'm going to open it. He came to the Chief of Staff. He came to the Minister of Defense. He kicked the door. And they started Nachal Chareidi again in 1999. And then Netzach Yehuda became from Nachal Chareidi. It's the same unit, different name. And I served in Nachal Chareidi.
Oh. Wait, so Henry, so when did you get involved?
So, as I started telling you earlier before we started the podcast, Rabbi Nasson Bar Chaim's brother was going to run the division Netzach Yehuda, Nachal Chareidi. And unfortunately, his wife got sick, and his chavrusa was Rabbi Tzvi Klebnau. And they came to Rabbi Tzvi, and they asked him, could you do this temporarily? Temporarily turned into, a lifetime gig. And just a few months after he took over, I used to daven Nates at the Kotel, and this is famous minyan with Moshe Shapiro,
Sure.
Everybody knew. And Rabbi Tzvi would drive him every morning to the Kotel.
You still doing the Nate's menu when you go?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So Rabbi Tzvi, I see this person, doing Mishnayos before the minyan, and he, after the minyan, comes over and says, Shalom Aleichem, walking out of the Kotel. He says, I'm driving Moshe Shapiro. Do you want to ride? I said, sure. And which began like this whole journey of driving back and forth with Moshe Shapiro. But he says, what do you do? I tell him, and I said, what do you do? He says, I'm the head of Nachal Chareidi. I said, what? I said, explain that to me. I said, I have to meet with you. It was Erev Shabbos, short Shabbos. Came to see me, and I said, I got to be involved. I mean, involved with the Chareidi population. And that was the beginning. And David Hager joined a little bit afterwards, and Steve Rosedale. And that was the beginning of the journey. just literally a few months after it began. And we started American Friends, and then we took over, like 17 years ago, we took over the Israeli Amutah, expanded it. And today, the chairman is Yeshua Pfeffer, and we have this amazing...
I like Rabbi Pfeffer a lot, by the way. I read him religiously.
Right.
It's great.
And, good friend that served with Yossi Levy. These are the poster childs of, success stories. Yossi represents literally the poster child of what, a Chareidi soldier could be, what a family could be like, a person devoted to Talmud Torah, but doesn't want to spend their life, sitting in yeshiva. So what do? How do they integrate in society? And how do you keep your Chareidi values, your Chareidi lifestyle, your Chareidi education, without sacrificing that, but yet be part of society? And he represents that blend. And to have him as CEO, and through that journey, it's really a blessing for Netzach. That's why you have to ask him and hear what he's basically accomplished and has transformed what we were, which was a shadow organization, being there to have the platform for Chareidi to come and have the kashrut and have, davening, to really be an organization that permits not only to participate and serve, but change the fabric of life in Jewish society in Israel. And I think Yossi should give really what you've implemented to really transform the organization.
Hold on a second, Yossi. Before, just picking up on what Henry said, we're gonna ask you about that. But are you still are you still in the Chareidi community today?
So when I finished my army service, the first question was, who am I? Do I Dati Leumi? Do I Chareidi? Because I grew up...
Torani, Chardali, I don't know.
Chardali, and all of the options in Israel, you have a lot of sectors.
Yes, we do.
And we have to change it.
And we
need unity.
And we in the Jewish link in the United States have trouble keeping up.
So. I believe even in Teaneck you have sectors, but I'm not...
We definitely do. we actually think that each shul is becoming its own sector. And then the problem is we haven't figured out a name for them, but you should know that the issue of what is going on Ba'aretz in Israel with the Datiyim is a source of constant fascination and confusion. And I'm actually going to be in Israel soon, and I'm like, I can't wait to hear the latest, the stuff I didn't know. Keep going. Sorry.
I know that something that we have to learn from the people here in America is how to be a Jewish in some aspect, because in Israel the sectors are... You have to know, in the Chareidi society, until today, my sister, I'm looking like Ashkenazi, but I'm Moroccan originally.
I don't see that at all, but okay,
cannot get married with Ashkenazi boy. Why? That's the reality. There is a lot of terutzim why, but in America, it's not something that's happened, Baruch Hashem. And even the Chareidi, the Tilumi, we all religious people. We all believe in the same Torah. So I checked what is my shidduch even, what I want to do, because in one hand I believe in the Chareidi Ashkafa. Until today, I don't believe in Zionist in the non-religious aspect, only in the religious aspect. I believe in the Torah values completely. So I try to understand, and I understood one thing: the Ashkafa of our 24,000 veterans are the same of the Chareidi society. Very strong. But at the same time, we believe that the army is the main way to protect Am Israel these days. So we took both of them together, that values together, and we mix it. So today, because we have 24,000 veterans, not two, we are a big part of the Chareidi community in some aspect, and the leaders are respecting us, not like before. So we did a big change in that area. I can tell you I'm getting calls of fathers, Chareidi fathers, that's calling me and saying to me, we want shidduch from Netzach Yehuda, from Nachal Chareidi.
Wow.
Your veterans, again and again, people from the core of the society. We want... Someone saw me 2 weeks ago, I trained in a gym, and he came to me, Chareidi father, and he says to me, you have a shirt of Yeshivat Esder Charedit Kravit of Betzavta. Can you find a guy there for a shidduch for my daughter? I said, why? She's Charedit. He said, no, that guys are mixing the right values for me. So today it's totally different than before, Baruch Hashem.
So you're saying it's because Netzach Yehuda you guys have been around 25,000. That's a big number. That has an impact.
Right.
So you're beginning to change, in a sense, the face of the Chareidi. Wow. That's I mean, from sitting here in the United States, we were expecting to hear things like that. How the Chareidi society is changing, a little bit slowly, but I'm really happy to hear that. Wow. So what did you decide, by the way? Did you marry a Sephardi or?
My wife, she's from she learned in Chareidi schools.
Mm-hmm.
When she met me, she didn't know what's his army, and today she know very well, because in the past 2 years she met only the army, not me. So, but in the past 15 years I'm an officer in the army, so she knows everything. But I decided to be in both of the areas, to keep the Chareidi ashkafa, and at the same time to believe that the army is a very good way for tens of percentage of the Chareidi society, and we are working hard to build the unit in the IDF and to make them relevant to the Chareidi society with everything, environment, rabbis, shiurei Torah, everything is ready.
Okay, and one of the complaints we sometimes hear, I want to talk about the last few years, but one of the complaints we sometimes hear, actually I just heard Rabbi Leff give that explanation, has the army is not always so great about keeping its promises to the Chareidi community. Have you seen that? Has the IDF done a better job in the last few years, or trying?
So I want to use it from the perspective of my story a little bit. Let's go back. I started my army service. When I started the army service, I thought that it came only for me. My interest, I want to be a fighter, it's nice, it's cool. And then after 2 years, I will get a 1 year of education. Our process is that you come for 3 years. 2 years, you are a combat soldier or non-combat. And then in the third year, you get education.
So it's a little bit like sort of like Kamokan has there a little bit?
It's like, but it's more like, it's in the beginning of Israel, the Israeli army built a unit that's called Nachal. We based on Nachal unit. It's called Shnat Sherut. It's more for the kibbutzim. It's not close to the Esder, but you can compare it in some aspect.
Mm-hmm.
After 3 months in the training, the officer of my platoon, he called us and he said to us, "Why did you came here to the IDF?" I said, "It's cool to be a fighter, to kill terrorist people." And my friends said the same, and all of the group said almost the same, except the religious Zionist soldiers from Netzach Yehuda. Netzach Yehuda built that you have 30% of religious Zionist soldiers and then 70% of Chareidim.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I really, because that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you is one of the critiques, the criticism is that
people don't know nothing.
Is not. I know people don't.
Yeah.
By the way, sometimes I think I know something and then I find that I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that it's not so Chareidi? But you're telling me that the mix was always, you're saying, to have the Torani, Chardali, Dati Lumi soldiers in the unit. I didn't know that.
3 weeks ago, the head of the committee of Chutz U'Bitachon, the highest level of committee in Israel, in the Knesset, called me to the committee, and I sat there, and someone spoke about Nachal Chareidi. He is the professional guy of Nachal Chareidi. He didn't met Nachal Chareidi ever. And he says, because there is no Chareidi soldiers that comes to Nachal Chareidi, the army brought the Dati Leumi to Nachal Chareidi. You know nothing, because from the beginning of Nachal Chareidi, the army, the founders, Henry and that people, decided to say to the IDF, let's build the unit right. Why? Because when I came to Netzach Yehuda, I came with no values of army service. I cannot be a fighter with not even one understanding what I'm doing there. That's why they said to the army, let's build it right. Let's bring 30% of the Dati Leumi, of religious Zionists, and 70% of Charedim. That synergy, that mix can build the values, the environment right. For me, when I was a soldier, an officer, I learned every day from the Chardalim, from the Dati Leumi. That's what makes me much better fighter, soldier, warrior. So I said it in the committee, of course, and everyone that knows Nachal Chareidi know it. That was from the beginning, 70 and 30%. So that platoon commander, when he asked us, why did we came, only the Dati Leumi answer something that's close to values, of course. And then he said, be quiet. And he said to us, we are a small country. In the north, we have Lebanon and Syria. In the east, we have Jordan. In the south, we have everything. Egypt and everything. That comes from Yemen. We have Iran. Iraq. Everyone wants to kill us. Everyone. In Israel, in Judah and Samaria, hundreds of thousands of people wants to kill us. Our families. That's the only reason you hear. For me, it was the first moment I understand what I'm doing in Nachal Chareidi, and that's I have to be even in a position that I can influence. I decided to go to commander schools, officer schools. I become a platoon class commander. It's 12 soldiers, 30 soldiers, 100, 700. Next position will be 6,000, 2,000, 6,000. So.
And you saw life at in Tzava. I mean, before that, you weren't even thinking about it, right? You were thinking about.
Of course, for me, at the beginning, I thought I'm not going to be in the army ever. Then I decided, after I understood what I'm doing there, I decided to be battalion commander of Netzach Yehuda. I tried, and then I met my wife. She says to me, "It's very nice you want to be a battalion commander of Netzach Yehuda, but for me, you have to leave the army if you want to get married." So I decided to leave the army for my wife and Baruch Hashem, my family. It was, of course, the good decision for me. Hashem is playing the world. But in reserve, I got the opportunity to be a company commander of Duvdevan, of soldiers that they was in Duvdevan in the regular service, and then in reserve they came to me. I was company commander for 5 years, and then before 7th of October, I got the position of deputy battalion commander. I did battalion commanders course for 2 years. It's called academic of battalion commanders. And
this is after Barachad. This is like
it's after Barachad. It's after company commanders course, and then you got that course. After 2 years, 6 months ago, I got the position of battalion commander. That's, from what I checked, I have the zchut to be the first Chareidi battalion commander ever in the IDF.
And the highest ranking Chareidi officer.
Ranking
correct?
You can find in non-combat units, like me, lieutenant colonels, but it's important to say, in the core of the IDF, in the first line of the war, there is no enough Chareidim in that levels. Not enough. There is no Chareidim in that level. It's crazy. We must see Chareidim that comes to the IDF to be commanders, to be officers, to be the next generation of the IDF, of the nation, the Jewish nation.
Do you see Tzava as like as your career? Do you see him? Are you going to be you're a career officer at this point, right? You'll be 20, 25 years in Tzava, or
I'm 15 years in the army. I will be, I don't know, forever. But I'm in reserve, so I'm not in the active. In the past 2 years, I'm active. I'm like regular soldier, but I'm in reserve. I hope to see people like me in the active army service. It's called Keva. That they become battalion commanders and brigade commanders. We will see it. We are working hard to see it. There is even a Chareidi. No one, I don't know if people know about it, but in pilot course. And he's close to the end, so we have to give him a big bless.
I know in Israel that's the biggest deal.
This is the biggest
to crack crack pilots. They're the brightest and the best. They're the best of the best. I get it. So that's good. I even remember from my friends, who I guess I come from more the Dati Lumi community, to be a pilot was a huge achievement. It was the best.
I don't know if it's best in the Chareidi perspective, because we are trying to build the Chareidi units in the IDF to be close, because if you want to be Chareidi in the IDF, you must do it through Chareidi tracks, not in regular army. Maybe in the future, but not now. But anyway, it's a good, successful story.
Let me just talk to Henry for a second. So Henry, your role in supporting Yossi, and also American Friends. What's the role? I mean, also, by the way, you have the questions for all support organizations. What does Netzach Yehuda, what does Yossi really need from our community? I'm saying, I'm sure you've gotten this question before.
So 2 roles. Is the American Friends, which is really the financial support of the organization, and we need really to let Yossi to explain what it is that we do. We're talking about the officers, the soldiers who come in and fight and go through the 3 years and the year of study, which they have the possibility to go to school afterwards. But the American Friends is basically to create the financial support. You know, one of the challenges over the decades is that, you know, that the Tilumi communities would say, like, why do we have to take care of the Chareidi issue? Chareidis would say...
I was going to ask that, by the way.
The Chareidis would say, you know, this is our, you know, our leadership saying that boys shouldn't attend this. And, you know, one of the, you know, main challenges is to find the relevancy of looking towards the future. You know, post-October 7th, everything changed. It became one family. The urgency of, you know, having these divisive lines. And I prefer not to discuss, you know, people who came out and said things that we're not thrilled about, and focus on the positives of the positive support that the Rabbanim that did come forward and supported Yossi. And, you know,
and there were many. There were many.
And, you know, Yossi just, you know, spoke, you know, has a video with the Sephardi chief rabbi in English, speaking in English, telling him, you have to support what Chareidi is doing. You have to support Yossi Levy. I know him personally. I know the success stories, and, you know, giving him a bracha while he's going to America. This was unheard of. As far as the, you know, board is concerned, you know, there's two boards, the American one, Israeli board. Well, like any other board, you're there to give the resources, to give the support, and to make sure that they can succeed on every level. Basis, you can't do it without financing. And financing, we need a broader support. And the relevancy to our community, to the Datilumi community, the Torah community, is that the only way we can see Israel survive, you know, is through Shalom being Ishla Chareiro. I mean, if you don't have Shalom between ourselves, you know, listen, everything is Hashgacha Pratis, HaKadosh Baruch Hu controls the world, and we need people learning, and that is the source of our existence. But Shalom is really what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is looking for. And to have Shalom, you have to have the ability to take, you know, the thousands, the tens of thousands of young men who are lost, who are drivers and working in pizza shops or working in the black market and don't have a life, and create a platform, an environment where they can succeed. They don't have to lose their hashkafic lifestyle by, you know, being part of Israeli society. And that takes money, that takes resources. Understand what the money and resources are for. I think, Yossi, you should really explain what you've implemented. You know, we started right before October 7th, with post-October 7th. You know, what is there between the Mechinot and the affiliations with the Hesder Yeshivas? Well,
that's actually what I was going to say. Let's get to October 7th. We're now 2+ years post-October 7th. There's still a war. You mentioned that you've been basically not in reserves. You've been active. You've been almost bakeva, like standing, or, you know. So let's hear about October 7th and the last 2 years. Sure.
I think that's something that's happened in Israel that's can make the change is, of course, 7th of October. Because for 20 years, as Henry said, and he of course, one of the experienced person in that area in Israel and in America, we was like in the shadow. So some people heard about us, and it's like, I don't want to call it nice to have, but because it's security of Israel. But at the end of the day, not many Chareidim served in Nachal Chareidi. 24,000 for 25 years, comparing to the demographic of the population, the Chareidi population,
which is about 1 million.
Yeah, it's small number. We have to be realistic. We started from zero. We did revolution, but not enough in numbers. Before 7th of October, I met one of the major generals in the IDF, and he called me to his office, and he said to me, we have to bring more Charedim to the IDF. I said, why? He says, because we need Charedim. I said, for what? Maybe because you want everything to be equal, or to say that we have enough Charedim, or I don't believe in it. The army really need Charedim? He said, we need them. I said, let's do a video that you say you need Charedim in the IDF. Okay, we did the video. We shared it all over the media. We didn't believe it. He didn't believe it. No one believed it. Why? I'm battalion commander in the IDF. I didn't met my soldier for 3 years. We didn't train. We wasn't ready for nothing. The army closed brigades. The army closed of tanks, of infantry soldiers, and in artillery, everything. No one was preparing for 7th of October. Only the Air Force and intelligence units, and of course in 7th of October, they just disappear. And then 7th of October came. I heard the siren. I went to the kibbutzim with my soldiers. My battalion was waiting for the guns. I don't want to even share how many hours. And then I came back to Judea, Samaria, back to Gaza, Rafah, Khan Yunis. And I saw that a nation was built and one part is missing, one major part. The Chareidi population are not there. And the people in my unit said it to me again and again. We are here. We have very religious people in the unit. I have soldier in my battalion. His name is Rabbi Avi Goldberg.
Yeah, I know the name.
So if you heard about the name.
Tell about, remind us about Avi.
He had 8 children. He decided to leave my battalion to go to Lebanon, to be a rabbi of the brigade there. And then he went to Lebanon and he died. And he was maybe the model of the Jewish warrior. Very strong values, religious guy, strong physically. Amazing. Everything is there. When he have a moment, he learned Torah. And they said to me, where is your community? Where is your public? And I said to myself, we have to do something different. So we started in Nachal Chareidi to build programs, new programs of mechinot, pre-army programs, that give the right answer in 2 aspects. One, education. Everything is about education. When I'm coming to the IDF from 0 and I have to be 100, I must have a preparation of education, values, mental preparation, everything. So that mechinot, all of the mechinot we have today is for combat units. All of them, 6 mechinot, and another one is Esder Kravi.
So you've started 6 mechinot?
Yeah, we started
post high school.
Yeah.
These are guys who are turning 18.
Right.
And they are what? They're supposed to be going to first year base medrash, correct?
They come in for 1 year to the mechina, and then they go into the IDF for 2 years, and then they go into the process of the education we have after the army service. In that mechinot, we have 200 students. All of them goes to a combat units. We opened another yeshivot esder Chareidiot, more yeshivish, more frum, and more with degree inside the yeshivot. In that yeshivot esder Chareidiot, they come in for 3 years before the army service, 2 years in the army, and then they coming back to the yeshiva. That process, we have today 250 students. We have 450 students. We did event 3 months ago. The Prime Minister, Bibi, heard about it. He called us. His staff called me. They said, we want to be part of it. He came to the event. He gave a big hug to the students. He said to them, you are the future of Israel. Everyone know that. This is the future. You cannot bring unity to Israel without to see the Chareidim in a big involvement in the security, in the economy, and in the Israeli society. And I'm telling you, I'm not talking about one yeshiva bocher, even one. If you learn Torah in Ponovich, in Hebron, in that yeshivot, and you really learn Torah, you are not batlan, stay in the yeshiva, you protect me, I believe it. And I'm saying it everywhere. I believe that the Torah values protecting Am Israel forever. But please, go to Machane Yehuda market. Thursday night, you're going to see thousands of Chareidi boys. They are not learning 1 minute a day. When they are coming to Nachal Chareidi, they must pray 3 times a day. They must learn 1 hour Torah a day. Because this is the rules. It's a order. It's better than, 20% of the yeshivot for sure. That's why we started build that mechinot, that has the yeshiva. We have hundreds of students. We must be with 2,000, 5,000 students in the yeshivot is there and the mechinot, and we're working hard on it. That's why I'm here.
So are you raising money for the mechinot?
Of course. We have, Baruch Hashem, today we have the base of the government, but we have to raise the rest. So we have to bring today tens of thousands of Charedim to the IDF. That will make the peace in Israel. Second, during the war, as I said, we have 24,000 veterans. They are not veterans anymore. They are soldiers.
Yep.
In the past 2 years, they was soldiers in the IDF. 2,000 of them served in the units that's collected the bodies from the beginning of the war. One of them is my very close friend, Ariel Taman. Ariel Taman, I sent him to Netzach Yehuda, and then he became a reserve soldier in that unit that's collected the bodies. And 4 months ago, he decided to not being with us anymore, and he left a wife and children. And is one story from some stories in that units. We must take our veterans to make them a success stories, success ambassadors in the community. That 2,000 soldiers, we must give them mental health, PTSD, everything right immediately. When we have to bring them back to a normal life. This is our two main missions today, to open the units in the IDF, Netzach Yehuda, Hashmonaim, every unit we can open, combat units, intelligence units, in Air Force, and everywhere. And we are doing it very hard and very fast. To bring the Chareidim to that units, Hesder, Mechinot, we have today 200, 250 lone soldiers from Chareidi homes that cannot go to their homes because they decided to sacrifice in the IDF service. So we opened at 33 homes all over Israel to give them the option to be with some family.
Like America, like Olim.
Like Olim, but totally different. Yeah. Olim have the family behind them. That's all 250 soldiers, they don't have families behind them. The family against them. Baruch Hashem, most of the families today, the Chareidi families, behind their sons. We have to say it, not like before. But that 12% today, we started with 70% of lone soldiers. 12%, we have homes all over Israel. But at the end of the day, we have to see our veterans back to a normal life after 2 years of war. Like me, everyone have problems in his family, in his work, everyone, after 2 years. We have to work hard to bring them to a normal life.
To that point, one of the things that Yossi implemented and has been really a game changer, when you say, what do we need the money for? We have 30 Rabbanim that are going to the bases every single day. We're the only combat or, soldier entity that is permitted on the base by law. So they're giving shurim.
And the government's not paying for any of that,
right.
presumably.
No, the government are in cooperation with that, right. In that process.
We'll get to
but like 20%.
Right, we'll get to split.
Only in that process. In the other process, 1%.
Right. So you have these Rabbanim who are developing relationships with Chayalim. Like a Rebbe would be when our kids go to a gap year program, they have the relationships with the Rebbe. They're giving shurim. Then the biggest game changer, which has been most relevant, is post October 7th, is the mental health department. We have social workers, psychologists. As Yossi was explaining, we have 2,000 people. Now the Army doesn't recognize post-service, mental health, and to the extent that we're dealing with this, we're also dealing with the element of which you touched upon, which is a social and mental health aspect of, young Chareidim that are totally disconnected to this world. So you have the integration into this new bubble that they've entered into. They have now post October 7th that, experience. And, this is one of the most challenging aspects that Israel's dealing with. And, we've been on the forefront of that. And by the way, we're not only treating Chareidi soldiers from our units, we're treating soldiers from other units as well. And then when you talk about lone soldiers, and by the way, you give a plug, one of our boys from Teaneck, Jacob Becker, him and his twin brother went into the Army. They went into Hesder. Jacob went to Nacha Chareidi, and he just finished his service on Yantif. And, you should speak, and I used to visit the units to see who the boys are. It was amazing to see these, so yeah, there was, 30% Datil Umi, but, this is what Israeli society should be. So you have, the structure of, pre-army relationship. You have relationship during the army. Mm-hmm. You have the mental health aspect, and you have these lone soldiers. Every home of lone soldiers needs a madrich, we don't just take boys and say, okay, here, here's the key, and forget about them. We have to supervise them. We have to take these are young men, and they need supervision. They need a relationship and madrich to help them through this period. But we're not even touching a fraction of what Yossi deals with is then what do you do when the boy comes towards the end of a service? So we have Shanat V'Sima, which is going into education.
Which they've never had. Meaning, like if they're coming from a Chareidi framework, they know what do they do after the army post Sava? What do they do? Like you can't just drop them saying Yashikoach Chazak Baruch.
So we have places like Machon Lev. We have boys succeeding in Machon Lev, but to have the boys succeed in Machon Lev, they need a madrich and Machon Lev to integrate into that aspect.
Right.
And Machon Lev is not a Chareidi institution. It's a mix today.
Right.
It is the largest educational platform for Chareidi.
For religious,
And
it sounds like you're going to need, if you really succeed, yes, you're going to need more Machon Levs. That's what.
Right. We will open Machon Lev of Chareidim.
You will.
That's conflict.
We're broken.
That's a conflict of interest.
Not Machon Lev. Different names.
So.
Netivei Lev.
Yes. Okay. And actually, you don't know this, Yossi, but I was. I don't know if Henry remembers, but I was a long time ago. I was the executive vice president of American Friends of Machon Lev. So I know the institution very well, and I'm aware of how much of how they're growing.
We hope that after this podcast you will be part of Nachal Chareidi. That's the goal.
Well, I can see the way Henry's looking at me right now is like his eyes are like I feel the laser eyes, and Henry has.
I wasn't even supposed to be here. He told me he's coming, and I said, okay, I'll just come say hello to Moshe, and that's I'm leaving.
That's okay. So first of all, Henry, anyone who's in Henry Orlinsky's orbit, as you probably as friends of ours have told you. So Henry is let's hear.
Most important thing aspect here is that, and it's been a bracha. I mean, I really could spend the whole podcast, speaking about Yossi, because Yossi though represents, what the potential of what Nachal Chareidi is, and what Israeli society could look like. And I think that's, the message for me for the podcast is, to look at Nachal Chareidi and to look at Netzach Yehuda as really the future of Israel. A lot of the times when we go around, and Yossi's now experiencing coming to America, is that, people say, I heard this is Brigade Chashmonaim, and that's supposed to be the answer.
I was going to ask that question too.
I said, you don't understand. Chashmonaim is under our umbrella. Our we're paying for the Rabbanim to be there.
Didn't know that.
They can't exist. The whole agreement with the army that was signed 17 years ago, Reb Tzvi Klebner actually, created this, was this agreement of what type of kashrut and whether women are allowed to be on bases. And this whole platform is Netzach Yehuda, is Nachal Chareidi. We share the name, but we're not the fighters that are there. We're the whole support system that, creates the environment that a Chareidi can exist in the army today.
Wow. Okay, so that's big stuff. I want you to know. I hope that's the MS, and I'm just saying I'm filled with a lot of hope just listening to you. I want to hear specifics. How big is what's the need specifically? What are you how big a budget? What are you looking for specifically? How much does it cost to run a machina, to run a house with a madrich and all these things? So
I think the most important today is in that two areas I spoke before. One area is the area of the mechinot. That's to increase the numbers of the mechinot, because in mechina you go to the IDF. As I said, we build the next generation of commanders and officers. Each student in the mechina, because we have the part of the government, each student cost to us around $6,000, $8,000 for a year. So it's nothing, because we raised some money, and that's what we need now. And we want to see.
And they're like the machinot. There's like 150 machinot generally. The machinot movement is a big movement in Israel.
Right.
So you're joining up for the Chareidi framework, the Mechina movement, so to speak?
We took something that works well in Israel. We went to the religious Zionist population. We saw what's happened good. And 50 years ago, they had one yeshiva, Esder Yeshiva. Today, they have 80 yeshivot Esder. We started with one. Today, we have 14 in that area, not all of them under us. There is another small organization that they have another Esder Yeshiva, but in that area, there is today 14 Chareidi Esder Yeshiva.
Wow.
All the mechinot, it's our mechinot, the combat preparation, the 7 mechinot under us, but the yeshivot Esder, there is another. And in that area, we must be with, as I said, 5,000. So each Chareidi boy that comes to us, we pay between $6,000 to $8,000 a year. That's all. It's nothing. That's all. And this is something that's very emergency now, because if we will success with only building 2 Chareidi battalions, we will release 24 reserve battalions in the IDF. That's the numbers.
Meaning adding to the active, to the Kefa.
One battalion, compare to 12 reserve battalions, because one battalion can take a area for 12 months, and each reserve battalion comes for one month a year. So you can release 12 battalions.
That's huge, by the way, yes.
It's huge. I don't know if you know how much it costs to bring my battalion. I'm going to be in, I don't want to share here, but I'm going to be in one of the main places, villages, in Judah and Samaria for the next 2 months. My battalion cost crazy amount of money to the government, to the Ministry of Finance. Why? Because we are all in the workshop, in high tech, in mid tech, everywhere. I have managers in my battalion. It's cost a lot. One battalion, active battalion, regular one, Chareidi, save crazy money to the government. That's why we are focusing in that area. And second area is the mental health. Every soldier, we want to give them a treatment in that department. We want to hire psychological people. That area is going to cost to us total close to $600,000. That's what we understood after we checked it several times.
Annually, per year?
Yeah, annually. Mm-hmm. Annually, of course. So that 2 areas we're focusing in very hard. And someone that can be part of it, we need it right away, immediately.
Okay. And then we have 24,000 veterans. And unlike typical veterans that, have the support of their, educational background and their families, and, basically they've been on a track to, like any of our kids, they, when they're already in kindergarten, they know where graduate school they're thinking of going. These graduates don't have that background, don't have that support system. And so, we need to give support on that level. So it's from all sides, from the entry, to the journey within, which is called the Levui, to dealing with the trauma post October 7th, and to worry about these veterans that are leaving. First of all, thank you so much for taking time and really introducing Yossi to the world. I don't tire from saying that he's literally, the Norman Rockwell poster child of, what, Israel success story of a Chareidi person can do to.
His story's not done yet, Henry, you know that.
But the beauty of the story is that it's not just him. He's representative of thousands of boys who's looking for this. Yossi brought in, I mentioned, like I said, our existence is based on the back of, 2 superstars, David Hagar, Comey, because I said it, and Steve Rosedale, David, who, carried us financially for, like 20 years, and Steve Rosedale also, that they were the backbone financially of the institution when the government wasn't giving money, people weren't giving money, and besides the other work they've done. But Yossi just brought in someone who went through his journey, David Lifshitz, a successful businessman from the Chareidi background. He brought him into the board. There are thousands of potentially, tremendous neshamas that are looking for this opportunity. And that's what we are. We're basically an opportunity to really create the next chapter of how, Israel's going to succeed. And because it's on the basis of Torah, it's based on Torah values. It's on the basis of all the values that, a religious person is to have. And, thank you very much for taking time and really introducing Yossi and Netzach Yehuda to, our community.
It's of course not about me. I'm a regular story in Netzach Yehuda. Yeah, of course not. And I want to tell you that I'm coming not only because of the soldiers that's still alive. It's even more for the soldiers that we lost during the war in Netzach Yehuda battalion. Chareidi families. It's not simple to be a mishpacha shekula, a family from a Chareidi neighborhood that they lost their son. No one understands around them what's really happened to them. How many nights they was wake and wait for the call for their sons, for soldiers that's died in the war in Gaza from Tzanchanim, from Givati, Tomer Givati, or Roy Miller. He was a officer in Givati Brigade, and from another units where we have dead soldiers. This is our memorial, our passion to do what we do, to bring more and more thousands of Chareidim to the IDF because of their moreshet, what they left to us. So that's why we came and we follow their derech, their way.
Mm-hmm. But I wanted Yossi to share, one of the ending stories, one of the visions related to the fallen soldiers. So when Yossi came in as CEO, he said, we have to have a Yom HaZikaron event. And when he said he wanted to start this Yom HaZikaron event, we weren't very popular. And I think he had 100 people. And Yossi, why don't you just share with us, how this event came into being and, where it is today.
Oh, so we 7 years ago, I saw that all of the newsletters in Israel and the media, Channel 12, 2, and Channel 10, 13 today, all of them was behind around the Chareidi society in the aspect of there is the extreme side of the Chareidim that does barbecue in the night of the Memorial Day. I said, please, most of the Chareidim understand very clear what's happened in the IDF. They are not supporting it in the aspect of to send their sons to the IDF, but they all understand that people here sacrificed for us. So I said, let's do a memorial event for the Chareidi population, because they are not going to even plan to go to a regular memorial ceremony. So we started, and we shared it all over the media. Almost no one showed up in the first ceremony.
Wow.
I think 100 people, and it was a successful event. In the past 3 years, every Chareidi politician, most of them came to the event, ministers, the chief of the Shas party, everyone. Rabbis, chief rabbis, the head of Rosh Yeshivat Mir, Rabbi Tzchok Ezrachi, showed 2 years ago, and people from the mainstream of the society, and 3,500 minimum showed up in the past 2 years in Binyanei Haoma. It was full. 700 Chareidi women, mothers came. I asked some of them, why did you came? You have son in our units? They said, no, we just came to be part of it. It's important to us to say that we are part of it. We changed in the past 7 years. No one in the media speaking about the barbecue of the two crazy people, the extreme people that does in Gan Saker. No one speaks about it. Everyone speaks about that event, that this is the main event of the Chareidi population to memorial our soldiers.
That's really important, by the way. I hadn't heard about that event. So that's you in a sense changing the perception of the Chareidi community, which is what needs to be done. How do people support? Just where do they go for supporting?
If someone wants to support, you can write Nachal Chareidi, Friends of Nachal Chareidi in Google to see our website, Hebrew and English, and a donate page. It's very simple, and people can call me. And my email is in the website. Can speak with me. You can speak with Henry, of course. We are here.
Okay. So first, I want to say thank you for being here. We've had other very special guests from Israel. We've had certain guests also dealing with the Chareidi issue, like Rabbi Bambach and others who've also given us hope.
Amazing person.
So I'm just telling you that, you know, when I meet someone like you, when we get a chance to interview someone like you, it makes me feel, obviously I'm an American Jew, an American Orthodox Jew. My kids are going Chareidi, as it seems to be the case with everyone in Teaneck, but that's okay, or at least half of Teaneck. But the point is it gives me hope for. I was hopeful anyway about the state of Israel, but it's good to see. It's just special to meet someone like you, who clearly you're going to hate when I tell you. You're clearly a future leader of Am Yisrael, and I look forward to maybe seeing where this takes you. And
I have no any politicians' plans. Don't worry.
By the way, famous last words. You may regret that saying one day, because and I'm just saying that. But if you would go into politics, which I don't think you want to, you'll go in with a mission, just like you're having a mission with Chareidi.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much for the opportunity on the stage.
Israel?
Of course.
It looks like I am coming to Israel. It looks like I have to visit. So yes,
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thanks for being with us on the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting podcast. If you would like to participate or be in touch with us in any way, please email us at editor@jewishlink.news and follow us and find our podcast wherever you find podcasts.